Hi guys! I'm going to do a peek through and first impressions of The Power in Your Hands Writing Nonfiction in High School by Sharon Watson. Um, we have not done this. This is not a review. Um, I just got it yesterday. I've flipped through it. I've kind of looked at the assignments. So this is going to be basically a first impressions. We have done writing fiction in high school by Sharon Watson, and my daughter also did both of her literary analysis programs. They're both called Illuminating Literature, and really enjoys it. So we definitely wanted to stick with her for writing nonfiction. My daughter's not as excited about writing nonfiction as writing fiction, I will be perfectly honest. But okay, first impressions, what I really like about this, and first and foremost, because this is either going to make it or break it for some of you, it is a Christian curriculum. There are assignments that are going to require reading scripture. There is an assignment about writing a devotional, and there's a personal testimony section in here as well. So it is definitely not for somebody looking for a secular writing curriculum. The other thing I really like about it is that the lessons include different parameters for a beginning, intermediate, and advanced writer. So you do not have to worry at all about where your child is level-wise with their writing. You can either assign them the beginning, the intermediate, or the advanced level. The word counts are different in some of them. So if you have a child that's been writing with a different program for a long time and you're just looking for something different, but there will still be enough in here for them to work on the advanced level. If your child hasn't done a lot of writing, then you can still make this work for them. So I really, really liked that here. I put notes out here so I wouldn't forget what I wanted to say. The other thing I really like about it is that all of Sharon Watson's books are written with a bit of humor. They're not boring textbooky. They're not straight to the point, although she does definitely get her point across, but reading it, you feel like you're talking to a friend. It's very conversational writing, and I really appreciate that. So she packs a lot of information in it, but in a way that's not either boring or I know my 9-year-old, who is obviously not doing this, but my 9-year-old doesn't process well when it's just like an instruction and then an assignment. He does much better when it's relatable, and I think she does a really good job with that if you have a child that's the same way. The other thing that she does really well in here, excuse me, that I noticed is that she teaches the student to self-edit. So there's a lot in there about what to do edit-wise. In fact, for each section before they write, she has an example, like a sample that they analyze. So they're going to analyze the one that's in here, and then they're going to do their own work. So she teaches to edit, and she helps them analyze. She also, in the teacher's manual, I'll show you that in a second, has grading guidelines, which for me is really a bonus, because as far as grading, I find writing the most intimidating. It's not like math where it's an obviously right or wrong answer, and that's that. It's not cut and dry. And it's one of those things that I've always been a little bit intimidated by. My mom gave me one of those, what's it called? I can't remember what they're called. The score things for writing, but still there's just that element of, I don't know. I like the black and white grading, I guess. So I'll show you that here in just a second. I marked some pages that I wanted to show you, but let's look at the table of contents real quick. So she has a before you write section, a persuasion section where she's going to do different types of persuasive writing, proofreading, exposition, so more factual letters, emails, letters of condolences, process writing. She mentions the MLA method of citing your sources, which is very, very important. There's the devotional, newspaper writing, biographies, compare and contrast, literary analysis. narration. So there's the personal testimony or spiritual journey, and then your toolbox to be your own editor. Okay, so here I'll show you a little bit. This is what I mean by having a little bit of humor in it. It says, warning, cheesy analogy ahead. Proceed at your own risk and bring tortilla chips and maybe some salsa. She also has a couple places in here where she says, here it is, smug alert. Intermediate and accomplished writers will already be familiar with this material in the structure and essay coming up next. Treat it as a quick review. She mentions a couple places where, in the very beginning where she says, you know, if you already know this stuff, keep going. There will be new things ahead. So you will either have this as a review for your child who's done writing, or it's all going to be new for beginning writers. Okay, so the other thing that I really like about this that I noticed is that at the very beginning, I'm not sure how many assignments into it, she has these boxes, day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, and day 6. And in the first few assignments, she has them filled out for the student. So she sort of, oh, for crying out loud, my words just completely left my mouth. They're in my brain. Okay, so she has it listed out for them. And then when you get further into the program, these are blank, and the student needs to organize their days and figure out what they need to do when. So I really like that. So she starts out helping them and then lets them figure it out. And then up here she has, this is going to be really helpful for my daughter especially, I think. Writing takes time. For every 100 words you are assigned, set aside at least 1 hour. If any researching is needed, add more time. Rule of thumb, no joke, 100 words equals 1 hour. So I think that's going to be helpful for my daughter to kind of plan and do her time management. Here's the checklist that she has after you write. She has a checklist to make sure that, you know, when you go back and edit, you can cross off your boxes. Here's an example of one of the assignments where it's different for the beginner and the intermediate and accomplished. So it says, if you're a beginning writer, choose one paragraph type from the following list: direct, climactic, and interrogative. Then write that paragraph using the Proverbs material. Write with unity and completeness. If you're an intermediate or accomplished writer, write one paragraph using any of the following paragraph types: direct, climactic, interrogative, effect clause, enumerative, comparison and contrast, and problem to solution. Use the Proverbs material as your basis for your new paragraph. In addition to unity and completeness, make your paragraph hang together by using devices that create cohesion. So again, there's that extra if you have a child that's already been writing. I really appreciate that. Okay, here is one of those where I mentioned that they're going to be looking up Bible verses, and it's not just thrown in there for no reason. We're talking about persuasive at this point, and so they're looking up several verses, and they have to answer questions. How did Paul interact with people who are breaking God's laws? How do Christians' tactics differ from those who do not believe in Christ? What can these tactics do? Who is your enemy? What should be evident and why? So she's bringing biblical truth into writing persuasive essays. So here's one of the assignments. Write a persuasive essay on why children shouldn't watch horror movies. Again, it's at the beginning, so she's going to have this listed out for them. Let's go back into... Here's a different one for the beginner and the intermediate accomplished. Word count for beginning writers between 350 and 500 words. Word count for intermediate, and accomplished writer between 450 and 600 words. And again, check it against the checklist. So here's the biography. And they have she's giving different options about writing biography. Write about a person you respect. Write about a person you don't respect. Write about a person who overcame great difficulties. Write about a person who invented something interesting. A person from his creation's point of view. Write about a person who has told who was told he would never be successful and then was. Write about a person from the point of view of a pet. That would be interesting. That would be fun for those kids, especially who are wanting more fun writing. Write about a person who, in a who am I manner. Write about a person's spiritual journey. Circle any of the above methods that appeal to you. And then here's here's a excuse me, an example for them to do their analysis of. So do you find this biography interesting? What facts do you wish you had included? Do you want to learn more about Heather Whitestone? Give this paper a grade and explain the grade. And then they have another example to answer questions about, and then they have their assignment. So I like that she gives them short examples that they can read in a very quickly, analyze it, and then when they do their own, they can keep in mind what they already analyzed. So again, this one's going to have a different word count for beginners, intermediates, and accomplished. Read the next section after you write the assignment and before you hand it in. And we're at the end, so they have to figure out their own time schedule. So that's basically the layout of the student manual. So I'm really excited about this. I think it's going to have all of the important stuff in there she needs to know about writing, but keep it interesting and fun and a little less intimidating. Okay, so here is the teacher's guide. My first impressions of this were really, really positive. One of the things I appreciate, in fact, if you are not choosing this curriculum, I might even recommend getting the teacher's manual. If you're intimidated by grading writing in, similar to the way I've kind of felt about grading writing, because this is really great stuff in here. So she has how to give a grade, but then she says how to earn an A, how to earn a B, how to earn a C, how to earn a D, and how to earn an F, which is basically, not doing anything or plagiarizing. But so you can see some examples of A work, B work, C work, and D work with her explanation of why those would have gotten those grades. So I really liked that. Tips to help your student proofread, so that proofreading marks are in here as well as in the student book, so that if you're helping them proofread or if you're checking their proofreading, you're both on the same page about what your marks look like. I think that will be helpful. So this is basically just going to tell you what they should be up to. I noticed this is similar to how she has the teacher's guide in her other books. We have, I think I started out with her first literature, working with my daughter on her lesson plans for the week, and then she just went for it. But she's also my self-starter. She knows what she needs to get done, and for the most part, she's going to get it done. My younger kids, when they get to this point, may not be quite as independent. Well, hopefully they'll be just as independent, but they may need a little bit more of mom making sure they're keeping up the way they need to keep up. Okay. So here, this is one of the other things I wanted to show you. Okay, so here is their persuasive essay, choice of topics. So for every writing assignment that your student has, she has one of these sheets. So it's going to tell you how many points each thing gets. So is each point strong, expressed well, and devised to convince readers to change their thinking and behavior? 1 to 15 points, 1 to 10 points. So you can really go down and feel confident in the way you're grading them. So she said, she shows some examples. Do list, don't do list. There's another one. There's the horror movies, persuasive writing. I marked this page here. Now I can't remember why. Because the teacher's manual is pretty much straightforward. It's pretty much the same thing for each lesson. But I did mark something in here that I wanted to show you. No, I can't remember what. Oh, maybe it was just this one. I think it was just one of these pages. I wanted to make sure I showed you. So there's the one for the devotional. Is the topic of the devotional spiritual in nature? Does the devotional begin with an interesting fact or story from news, sports, history, literature, or life? Does the first half illuminate the spiritual truth? In the second half, is the transition from one topic to the next clear and helpful? And is it truly the thesis statement? Is the student's treatment of the spiritual topic concise, pithy, and valuable? Are there 200 words or fewer? Did the student hand in the passage or verse and the Bible reference as well? Does the student correctly interpret or teach the Bible verse or passage? Does the student use gender-neutral language effectively where appropriate? Extra credit, is the devotional insightful or otherwise noteworthy? Grade for content. And then here's a grade for grammar and mechanics. So how's the spelling? Are there separate paragraphs? Was the paper handed in on time? Did the student follow the written instruction? So as you can see, you have that for everyone. So this is really, it's pretty much the same thing for every lesson, but really helpful. And great for record keeping. Everything, your records for the grades can stay in here. So there is the teacher's manual and the student's guide. If you have any questions, let me know. If you want to see a review of the writing fiction in high school, let me know. She just finished that. I would be more than happy to do that. Or if you want to see inside the illuminating literature programs, we have both of those also. So let me know. And it's getting really loud in here. So happy homeschooling, guys.